Once again, another session of Cannon's class. This one, man, is going to be a special one because we got a legend in the building. That's, I mean, all he needs is a Tony Award, right? That's
the Tony.
He get the Tony, and he's definitely an EGOT, one of the best MCs to ever do it, and a true activist and leader in our community. Common, man.
Brother Nick,
Peace.
What's going on, my guy?
Man, come on. Like, obviously, you know, we going to skip over the pleasantries because I feel like in this industry, this is somebody I can really say not only is like a mentor, but somebody I done spent real time with, could call a friend. Yeah. And like from conversations, intellectual conversations, conversations about chicks.
Yeah, we talk about it all, man.
Yeah. So this is an honor, man, but the new book is out, and I mean, it's powerful. I actually read it a couple of times, but and you did the audio book too for the cats that, you know, because that's what we do here at Cannon's class. Just if everybody can't pick up the book ahead of time, get it on iTunes, an audio book.
And we scored the audio book.
Yeah, it's
too.
fire. That's what I was about to say. It's different. It's an easy listen, but the book is called Let Love Have the Last Word. Yeah. And it's also, you know, the album is separate from the audio book. That's coming in August as well. Yeah. And that's just Let Love. You're on the Let Love tour. So, man, let's get to it, man. The framing questions about love. Like, and I would start off, man, because I know this book was inspired by your daughter, who is HU alumni.
Yeah.
HU, you know how we do.
Yes, sir.
But man, love from the retrospective of life to here to I used to love it. Love has always been what Common talks about. Yeah. Where did that? I mean, in the book you talk about your mother was a big inspiration and was kind of the first person who introduced love to you. Yeah. Is that really where it comes from?
I mean, I believe it definitely comes from the love that my mother showed me as a mother and as a human being, and watching her love other people was like a really good example for me. But also one thing I didn't talk about is my father, when I was young, he used to tell me my name in Child of Love. He told me Rashid.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, that's what my name mean? I got to live up to this. I felt like, but I found out that ain't what my name meant.
That's hilarious.
But I love that he, you know, even instilled that in me. It was something about, for me, I think, you know, with all that being said, from my mother to my father, whatever things they implanted in me about love, I think as a human being, just me being a person, I always wanted other people to feel like love and feel good. So I think it's always been like to the core of actually my existence. That's what I breathe. If it's one thing that I want to be known for on this planet is love, you know. And I think about it now. The more I learn about it, it's an action word. It ain't just the floaty, like just mushy love. I'm talking about it in a radical way too. Like what the Black Panthers was doing was love.
You
know, that was love.
And the people always focus on the militant aspect of it, but they really provide for the community, education, breakfast in the mornings.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And the idea of taking ownership of your community.
Ownership and learning about like yourself and like instilling that in others. That's love.
Yeah,
and
that's
even
real.
Protection is love.
Protection is love, bro. Yeah, like, protection and providing. That's where the core of it. You touched on your pop for a minute, and I feel like, you know, I share this kind of the same sentiments as you. Your pops was in your life. He was present, but he wasn't physically present. He was in Denver while you was in Chicago, right? Yeah. Now, interestingly enough, I kind of feel like my father was kind of the same way, kind of being a man of the cloth. I was still out here out west. He was in North Carolina when I would fuck up. And like I had the Boys in the Hood story. Moms would ship me back to Pops for a while, send me back. So, but again, like I would go 6 months not even speaking to my dad or not, you know, but still his presence was always there. His mother would help raise me even when he wasn't around. So growing up technically in a single parent household, but still having reverence for your father, not having my pops is locked up or you know, my pops isn't
on
around.
Drugs or something.
He was an influence in your life, but not directly connected. How did that help shape the man that you are today?
I mean, he really gave me like he would teach me about spirituality in a way that was like, okay, how do you practice spirituality for yourself? Like he really started in his own ways because of the individual thinker he is and was. Like he was teaching me how to think as an individual.
Yeah.
I remember one of my best friends was like, we went to visit my father in Denver like that was the first trip I like you said, we grew up kind of parallel in a way that like I would get to talk to him sometimes, and then sometimes I wouldn't.
Yeah,
I didn't
facts.
see him a lot. So, but I took my friend. We went out there. One of my best friends, Murray. We went out to visit my dad, and Murray kept telling me like, "Yo, do this, do that," and my father just kind of snapped at the moment. It was like, "Yo, you think for yourself. Don't
listen to Murray."
Yeah, don't listen to Murray. Like, I'm like, but and from that point, and even before that and beyond that, he was always instilling think for yourself. And the thing I liked about what my dad taught me also was just like he was a spiritual dude, but he was a street dude too. He had dealt with addiction. He had dealt with different things, but he was able to share that with me and wasn't trying to.
He was real with you.
He was real.
Gave
with
you
me.
that truth.
Yeah, that truth.
And that's one thing I always found out interesting about you, and I think even what drew me to you as an artist and someone that I truly looked up to. And I feel like it was the record that you did with CeeLo, where I think you talked about spirituality, and I was always coming like when we respect hip hop, I was respecting the 5%ers in the late 80s and really looking for my own spiritual guidance because my dad was a Christian minister, and I didn't really like, even in your book you quote Corinthians and the love saga, Corinthians 14 and all of that, and your name being Rashid, I'm like, yo, common a Muslim, it's common a Christian, and then God. And I think I probably asked you in private every once in a while, but I would love for you to speak on, man, not even just like your aspect of religion or spirituality, but even in dealing with love, your belief system, and how do you channel that, especially in the day, because as we read all of these books and we pick up from Deepak Chopra to whoever, to like everybody from the Honorable Louis Minister Farrakhan, like we pick up these gems, but when we try to classify ourselves in what we truly believe in the disciplinary systems, which I really call what religion truly is, do you classify with one? And if so, what would be your advice for a young person that's really trying to find themselves through spirituality and seeking guidance and discipline to reach that level of love?
Yeah. Well, I think, when if you take a look at all, like, the spiritual practices that are based in God, they based in love, meaning Islam is based in love.
Right.
Like, when really, truly practiced.
Yeah, when you know what the definition of Islam is. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Christianity is based in love. Judaism is based in love. Buddhism is like, I feel all those, like, when practiced at the
highest level, on the highest frequency.
Yeah, it's man, that's what they all have in common. And
they ultimately saying the same thing.
The same thing. That's what, like, my first name is Lonnie. My father named me Rashid. That was my middle name. He was like, man, I want to mix a Muslim name with Lonnie, which is technically a Christian name.
Right.
Because that was his philosophy. He was reading the Bible and the Quran. And at one point, as you said, like, thank God for hip hop, because I was, grew up in church, going to church, and I went to Trinity, which is a non-denominational, Reverend Jeremiah Wright.
Absolutely, I've been there a few times. He used to come to my family's church in North Carolina. I seen him get down plenty of times.
Know that whole motto was unapologetically black, unashamedly Christian. So that kind of gave me a real strong foundation on seeking out God, like, in Christianity. So I founded myself as a Christian, but growing up in hip hop, I was listening to the Brand Nubians, KRS, and
the 5% mentality, the Raquel, Kane, all of that.
So I was learning about that too, and then also getting the Quran put in my hand helped me to be like, man, these spiritual practices really have a lot in common. So what I would subscribe to anybody, like, young or old, is like, I really feel like they just pathways to get to God. Like, and if you choose, if one of them works for you and it works for your practice and you can discipline and it speaks to you, then that might be the route. But you don't have to shut off the other ones just because you choose that. Like, and that was the one thing I really respected early on about Reverend Wright. He let Minister Farrakhan came and spoke at the church and spoke at someone's funeral. And like, it was like, I like, man, when people from different spiritual.
It's not a competition.
It ain't a competition, man. It's like, man, how can you reach your higher self and and be the God that's in you.
Yeah.
And I think Islam does it for many people. Christianity does it for many people, and other spiritual practices.
Yeah, and honestly, I look at these as recipe books.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's many ways to bake a cake, or you know what I'm saying? And that's that. Now, when we get into that monotheistic approach of like, yo, this is the only way you can make cake.
That's what,
or, you know what I mean?
Or you get into like killing in the name of religion. It's just like that ain't what the religion is like.
That's where the perversion comes of it. And you speak of love, and then when you break down what love actually means, and like whether it's like the Hebrew sense or the Greek sense, even in the Bible, the Quran, the Torah, it all talks about philo, eros, and agape.
Yeah.
And agape is that unconditional love. And I feel like that is placed in every religion.
Yes.
But going into like, and not to get so like, I don't want to pontificate and get on to like, oh, we have the answers and none of that stuff. And I got a real question for you, just based off of when we talk about love. That sounds very
soft.
Not even just soft, but like an easy answer.
Yeah.
When you say like, oh, God is love.
I know what you're saying.
You know what I mean? You touch on that in the book to where it's like, it's real cats dealing with real stuff in your community. And like, common, all that sound good.
Yeah, exactly.
But we dealing with real shit out here.
Yeah.
So as much as like love is the answer and love, but to really get to the core of it, beyond it, like, I don't think as a community, or even as people, when like the self-discovery and we talk about therapy, what love truly is. And that's why I wanted to kind of break down those three different aspects of love, where like philo is brotherly love. You know what I mean? Eros is that erotic type of love, that attraction that we have to certain things. And then agape, the unconditional, just what you have for mankind. But is that truly present in our community? And if so, how do we magnify and get to it more to where we can kind of, not to say love is the answer, but if we really start to implement it from a ground level, by starting with the understanding.
Well, yeah, I think, I think innately we created in the image of the Creator. So, like, we have that unconditional love in us.
Yeah.
I think we unlearn that by like either
European philosophies.
So a lot of that, and then sometimes just what we experience and where we going around, but definitely obviously like a lot of the European like way of life of just stripping, like coming over to lands,
conquering Alexander the Great and
Yeah.
the Caesars and all of those aspects.
That in itself is like
it was pure survival.
Yeah, that's what it ends up being. Like, instead of like you being able to be like, man, let me apply this love and work on love. You like, I gotta survive. And I think so. A lot within our community has been about survival, but ultimately, like when we able to like get past that point, we able to be like more loving to each other. When I see like I could ride in the neighborhoods and see like cats looking out for each other, or I see this woman taking care of this person's family, like, and that might not even be her bloodline. I know that love exists in our neighborhoods. It's just like getting over the actual thing of survival has been one of the obstacles for us to get to that love. But when we do be like love is the answer, you do wanna like give them more than just that. I want to give people more. And I think when we talk about love, I'm talking about applying it as an action thing, as an everyday practice. Like, okay, how can I be in a situation and be more loving, whether that's to somebody that hurt me, like meaning like it's
turning the other cheek.
I mean, to a certain degree. Sometimes I'm saying like I'm a believer. I really love Dr. King, but I'm not like, yo, just smack me and I'm just not gonna do anything.
Right.
I feel like love is defending myself too.
Facts. And even Dr. King even spoke on that. He was like, yo, the strength in to be able to withstand from being physical. Like I even talk, a lot of people don't know, Dr. King was trying to get his concealed weapons license. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
he had
to defend himself.
To defend. He was still strapped at the end of the day.
So that's what I mean. But I'm saying like, okay, like in those situations, how do I apply love in a situation where, like, man, to my community, like I feel like a lot of us, once Trump got in office and different things was like just down, like we was down. But I'm like, man, how do I really like be active and do something that like to combat that? And that was love. And that for me, love was like okay, well, what am I gonna go do for the community? What active things am I gonna do? So that's love right there. And then like taking like inventory of where you are in the day and being like, man, this is how I feel. Like me being able to say something honest to you. Like if I had an issue with you, but do it in love, like with the intention of like,
let me pull you to the side and just from man to man. That's love.
That's love instead of being like, yo, all right, man, let's just fight about this shit.
Yeah, or even being on some fake shit.
Yeah,
because
that's almost worse.
That's worse because like we cool, and then knowing that you didn't really deal with that issue or even really speak your truth, and that's that's why I was kind of leading that question about like the broad concept of love is cool, but our people don't embrace it because of so many indoctrinated like philosophies that have been put on us to where the love has been stripped away. But I always wanted to go a little bit deeper and just talk about from where we came from to where the expression of love a lot of time was through the melanin. It was through who we are as a people, and through, you know, whether you go to how our relationship with the sun, the actual sun, is that it was power for us. And even like when you break melanin down, like on people who have lots of melanin, the sun enriches it. People who have a lack of melanin, it actually deteriorates their essence. So then it goes to those survival and barbaric mentalities of like, yo, I need some more of that. Therefore, whatever they have, I need to be a part of that. So really, love is within us. Love is in our skin. Love is in our culture, and that's what we talk about. God is love, but God being within us, and that's every philosophy from Islam to the Buddhist teachings, all of those things. But I feel like that's like always be looking for like a tangible asset to really talk, because we do a lot of the similar stuff. We go into, you know, these incarceration facilities and we talk to, and again, I met some of the most intelligent and intellectual people inside because all they sitting here studying hours upon hours, 20 years straight, and those are the things where that message of love, but they get detailed with it to where it's really some truly self-love and breaking yourself down. So it's even, so whether it's therapy, whether it's community activism, whether it's incarceration, to really get to that core understanding of loving yourself, whether you're a melanated person, whether you're a person who is the lack thereof. It's like understanding is one race. It's the human race. It's one energy. It's the God energy that operates in all of us, and connecting to that. How did you discover that, and then how do you continue to spread that message specifically?
Well, I think, you know, something that you hit on is really important is that self-love, and that's been like that's been a journey for me, because like even, you know, like growing up, I'm thinking like, okay, I you know, life is good, I'm happy, you know, you know, I love myself. I'm putting out music at a certain point, and I'm feeling like, man, I really love myself. I thought I did, but I realized through breakups, through like just being around other stars, that I was willing to dim my light. You know, and that made me look at, man, why don't I love why can't I embrace my greatness? And what do I got to do to work to learn to love myself and not be afraid to be around other people and still say, man, I'm good, I'm great at this, and I'm good, and not feel like, oh man, I'm making this person feel bad because I'm embracing my greatness. Like, so I had to unlearn some things, because culturally, like just probably even within my home, because to be on another level, my mother even have a hard time accepting compliments or accepting.
I'm the same way.
You know what I mean? So,
facts.
So like the journey for love for me started with like, oh, okay, I got God. Well, if God really is here, if that's God, love ain't gonna change. But what am I doing for myself to show that I like really love myself on that level?
That's interesting, because you touched on that in the book. You taught, I believe it's like Dr. Maya Angelou was a person who told you how to be able to be humble, but to walk in a room with your head high.
Man.
That resonated with me. You know what I mean? Because I have that same issue. And what I noticed about you, and even like two brothers who admire each other, rock with each other, have similar beliefs and similar efforts, but in this game we don't embrace each other in the way of like, oh yeah, he doing his thing, I can respect it from afar. We out here getting it, but we don't really come together. And is that because when we get in these rooms, do we kind of like clam up, or is it like, yo, I can't be like, yo, man, I love you, man. I love what you're doing. Where can I help? How can I jump in? And I feel like, you know, in the days of the Harlem Renaissance or the Baldwin times, or even, like those cats really embraced it and fucked with each other a little bit more than we do today. Even though we all getting it and cats is making money, we winning, but we come in these rooms and it's kind of like, all right, what he doing? What he doing? Oh yeah, I need to go hustle up and get mine. Yeah. Opposed to like being a part of somebody else's situation.
Yeah, but I think you're absolutely right. I do see more people starting to strive to connect more. Like people, like I see people producing things together. Like even I think
our women are doing it.
The women are
on guys is still standoffish.
Yeah, but like. One of the things that even, you know, me and you could say, like, speak for is like we've had the intention to work on a certain project.
Developing projects.
But the part of the thing that I think happens is our follow through. We all go back to our world where we got to take care of our things. And don't like.
And so it's no intention to be fake. It's just that there's enough time, energy to actually dedicate towards it.
But I think we got to make the time to a certain degree and like really take this, like one of the things that I point blank had to get over, and it was like another time we're talking about God speaking, is it used to be hard for me to call my friends who were artists like yourself and you know what John Legend blah, and man, literally I was sitting talking to Derek on the phone about Selma and a song for Selma, and they were looking at all these other artists, and I said, look, you know, Derek, let me call you back. It was like a thought came to my mind, God speaking to me saying, man, call John Legend. I said, I'm about to call John Legend. I usually wouldn't have done that. And my point is, like, man, like the whatever fears we got or like whatever we doing over here, we got to make those.
Yeah, because it taps right into, because I know for me, it's I don't want to be rejected by my brother.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But
and it's just like, oh, if I call, he going to tell me no. Or even, it's going to be a time. And even like when we talk about certain things, we always be like, look, I know you busy. But I want to build this. I want to get to that. So the more we can kind of, again, remove that ego and then just respect each other as kings and know that it is all love, I think we'll probably accomplish a lot more.
Man, what you said is definitely words of wisdom, because the fear of even just being rejected is something that we all be like, man, I don't know if I want to ask them or, like, you know, but ultimately sometimes people are busy or sometimes they can't do it. The one thing I've learned to do more than anything is communicate honestly. If I feel like if I can communicate honest with people that I'm dealing with, then I'm doing right by them and by myself, you know, and that's important. And then at the same token, also be open to, man, we can grow in businesses. People have a lot of different talents. You got a lot of different talents. Like, be open to what people are bringing to the table and hear them out. And you never know what could be created from there.
Nah, that's real. And then you touched on something we got to get to, communicating honestly. Now, I've learned a lot from you, watched you from afar, but specifically with love and in your love life. Communicating honestly, like, and I have these discussions often, and they get truly passionate because I'm passionate about being as honest and upfront as possible. And that's when I say right now, like, look, I'm never going to be in a relationship again because I don't understand that infrastructure. I believe marriage is a concept that is a European concept for the exchange and classification of property. But that doesn't stop me from loving and my tribal mentality of being fruitful and multiplying. But honestly, man, we all seek love and we seek a companion. You've dealt with it in the public eye in many different ways, where people have opinions on it. Like, where do we go from here as cats who are in a system of, we operating how we want to, we building our own, we providing for our own. Does it even make sense for us to keep going and seeking for our queen? And if so, at what level? Because I'm going to be honest, like, at this point, I feel like a relationship is supposed to make you better. If you don't come into it and we meet and be equally yoked and grow together, then I don't really need you. You a distraction. Especially like with my health and everything. Relationships to me are classified as stress. So as much as you want to make it work, if it's deteriorating me and not allowing me to grow, then I don't want no parts of it. So that's why, and as a father, I stay away from it. So where's common currently, and then where's that trajectory, where do you see it going, and do you need it in your life at this point?
Yeah. Well, I felt exactly like you felt in many ways. Like, man, do I really need a relationship? My lifestyle is good. And,
Yeah.
And it's like, it becomes, will I be able to be the best artist, and will I be able to operate in
And
my
be the best
purpose?
you.
Me.
Yeah.
Man, I mean, like, for me, because art has been such a purpose for me, I'm like, art, like, if I ain't being the best, if I ain't operating in my purpose, that's the scariest thing for me. Right? So, and I've equated relationships at times to just taking me away from what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
But what I've realized is some of that is just my own fear of, like, not setting boundaries.
Right.
Not also being able to be like, balance things and figure out how to do it, and not wanting to put the effort towards that relationship to do it.
Because
like,
it's work.
It's work. And I understand what you're saying. It does.
And that work takes away from your greater work, your purposeful work.
Right. But it also goes back to what you said about, like, you gotta align yourself with someone who is, y'all uplifting each other. Like,
right.
And I respect the fact that you could be at a place in your life and be like, man, I don't need marriage. I might just want to have a good partner with me.
Yeah, I tried it. It didn't work.
But as I told you before, I think, if you try, you've also tried we've auditioned and it
didn't work. That don't mean you got to stop auditioning for films.
Yeah.
That's wise words right there.
So, like, and I put out albums that didn't work.
Yeah, facts. But you gonna still keep pushing.
Keep pushing, because overall, my highest purpose is to create God's work, to put out inspiring things, to enjoy and have fun.
Yeah.
So.
And I feel like in your book, if I'm, correct me if I'm wrong, but you said one of your relationship counselors, or one who guides you, the amazing Michelle Obama, told you that you got to make sacrifices for that right partner.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I'm ready to make a sacrifice.
Right.
Like, I don't really know if I'm ready to step off my train that's moving,
right,
to try to get either someone to catch up or to jump onto somebody else's train.
Right.
And like that to me is where the concept is conflicted for me personally.
Right. Well, I think that it's some of the sacrifices she was talking about was more from the standpoint of, but you are going to have to make the sacrifice we both talking about. She that too. But she was talking about from the standpoint of, like, say on your list, you like, I want a woman intelligent, I want a woman fun, I want a woman that's spiritual, I want a woman that can draw, whatever.
Right.
She was like, yo, certain things on that list, that are not as valuable, you're not going to get the perfect person because you're not perfect.
Right.
Right. So I was receiving that, because being like, when I do music and do everything, I'm like looking for
perfection.
Right. So and I think I've tried to apply that to relationships.
I do. I've always been told I put way too many expectations on women.
Yeah.
I want a queen.
Yeah.
I want a goddess.
Yeah.
And then that then opens up the door for them to try to live up to these expectations, which then introduces lies and uncertainty and dishonesty, because she's trying to be the queen, but she still ain't let go of this. So she still got the baggage of this, but she don't want to tell me about that. So it get too late, and they're like, oh, damn, why you didn't tell me you was out here thotting in the 90s? Like, you know what I mean? But it's because I put them expectations on her from the beginning. So if I remove those expectations from what relationships are, then we can grow together.
But you got your own. You got your own insight. You know what it is. Now it's just a matter of applying that.
But that means I don't need a relationship. We just be homies.
But ultimately, though, it's gonna be, or it may be one, two, like you said, decide on how you want to fulfill your life. But the point is, somebody gonna come and bring you their authentic self.
Right.
And you gonna be like, man,
I gotta be ready. I gotta be ready to embrace it.
I rock with that. Like, you might be like, man, I like her enough to, and it I feel like it is work, but certain things should naturally, organically feel easy. Like, that don't mean you ain't gonna go through some trying. And I'm telling you, as a man, I haven't even been married. You at least been married.
I tried it.
So, but I'm saying, I know you're gonna go through some, like, it's gonna be some trying. Look, people get tired of themselves sometimes. You're gonna get tired of somebody you
Facts.
You in a relationship with.
That eros wears off, but the agape is always there.
That's what part of that was the incubus for this book too, was me understanding that I always equate relationship love with that eros, with that like feeling that in your stomach, like,
the chemical.
I love that. Yeah. And then when
the
that wear out,
endorphins moving.
Yeah, when that wear out, I'll be like, man, I don't know if I want to do this work. I'm good.
Yeah.
But now I'm understanding love to be something else. Like if I can grow with someone and like really like be a better person, and I can make them a better person, I'm willing to go through the stages and go. And it ain't.
But they got to be willing too.
Yeah, they definitely do.
Yeah.
I mean, look, we on a life journey. We gonna always be hopefully growing and learning and listening, and like that's what love is about to me.
Yeah, and then being vulnerable is also what it's about, and you're definitely vulnerable in this book. And one of the things that it's kind of been a hot button topic since you put the book out is not only dealing with yourself and going back to childhood, but even I don't even know how to phrase it because I want to say the molestation aspect. But even when you read the book, how you phrase it, it wasn't like it wasn't. It was something that you didn't even necessarily remember.
Right.
You know what I mean? Until you started going to therapy and things that kept coming up to where it was a situation when you were a child that you there was somebody that crossed the line in a way that you had to deal with it now as a man and even revert back. One, how did you even open up to speak about that? But then how was that process of discovering that? And even now in your mind, how do you deal with that?
Yeah. Well, I would say to answer the last question, I'm still processing all that and still working on the one of the reasons I even talked about it was because I was talking about forgiveness.
Right.
Like how do I get to that level of forgiveness? Because that happened to me when I was like between the ages of 8 and 9. And it was a situation where an older cousin, like he was like an older cousin, molested me.
Right.
And that was like, man. And the reason why I say I don't remember, sometimes people deal with their trauma in different ways.
Yeah.
And I think I just kind of tucked that memory away
and blocked it out.
Yeah. And then it really didn't show up until I was doing a film about child sexual abuse called The Tale. The writer-director had been abused herself, and I was in a scene with Laura Dern, and we were rehearsing, and I was like, wait, this happened to me.
Yeah.
Something happened. And it just really started, my memory started like flooding with like, yo, this did happen to me, and I moved this away. So I really started, I didn't at that moment just like start immediately go to therapy and da-da-da.
You just unpack it.
I just started I just started dealing with it myself. I was already going to therapy, but I didn't even talk about it in therapy at that point.
Right.
But then I started to deal with it, and as I was writing, I actually started to write the song about it as I was writing for the book. I hadn't even finished the book, and I started writing this song called Memories of Home, and I was talking about that situation. I was really talking about it so I could talk about stopping that cycle because I realized that this happens a lot in our communities, and we don't discuss in generation
because we feel like that makes us less of a man if we've gone through that or if that has happened, and then to speak on it. That's what I'm saying. Like for you to kind of be out there speaking on it. I mean, not only do I commend you, but I could only imagine that has to be that has to like you said, you unpacking it, processing that. When we come from this place of bravado and ego, but then to be out there so vulnerable,
man,
and not even have the clarity of how it all went down because you blocked it away.
Right. I mean, it's definitely putting yourself out there. I put myself out there, but I feel victorious in it because I feel this has been the most liberated I felt. Like, when you start unpacking things that you ain't dealt with, you're like, damn, I'm out here. Like, like this is me. Like this.
And it seems like people been there supporting you and embracing you from everything that I've seen. So that has to feel good too.
Yeah. No, it definitely feels good. And I think one of the things that feels the best is that, man, I'm at book signings, different places, and men coming up to me like, yo, man, thank you, man. I'm actually going to go to therapy, or this happened to me and this allowed me to talk about it. Women have come to me and talked about it. And I felt like, man, that's the reason I want to do it, because I feel like that helps stop the cycle. Because generationally, and our generations has been like, we don't talk about this, and like that stuff be passed down and the cycle just keep going.
Yeah.
Because when I actually had to tell my mother about it, she was like, man, you know, people in our family been through the situation, but nobody had never talked about it.
Yeah.
So with us keeping it under the table, then who gonna stop it?
Yeah,
like
and,
you know.
And you have that light and that magnifying glass to actually not only help heal your family, but others. Just because, like, yo, Common's bold enough to step out there and be a leader and speak on it. I think we all can, and there's healing in that.
Yes.
Yeah. And speaking of healing, because I know we gonna wrap up soon, but we definitely got to talk about, you know, someone that we have in common.
Yes.
Dr. Sebi, man.
Yes,
and obviously I'm working on a documentary and you're a part of it,
yes,
but
sir.
You actually spent real time with him. I mean, not only did, you know, he help and assist with your family and your father, but you got to know the man on a personal level, been to Honduras, and introduced many. Like, I don't know how true this is, but like we have him saying that even like you helped, you got some minerals and herbs to Obama.
Yeah.
He was like, I gave Common something to give to Obama, but it was like just even hearing how jovial he was and how much love and admiration he and his family had for you, man. That means a lot. And us putting this project together and you being a part of it, I feel like it's going to wake a lot of people about the healing of ourselves and the ability that, you know, the herbs and the minerals were placed here for healing.
For healing.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
The leaves are medicine, the fruit is food. You know what I mean? Like that concept, and you've been living that for quite some time.
Yeah, and I mean, I had a lot to learn from Dr. Sebi because even as I was thinking like, okay, I'm eating vegetarian, I'm eating good, but it was certain things that still was not good for my body. It was acidic.
Yeah, the acidic, not alkaline.
Not alkaline, yeah.
The stuff that it's hybrid foods that break down and turn into mucus. Like, and people don't really understand because they think, oh, I'm eating carrots or
exactly.
I'm eating this is good, when that might not be your African mineral makeup.
Yeah, but I mean, essentially, you know, so we could break it down for just so it don't feel like it's such a
over
big
the
science.
head. Yeah.
I feel like what I understood was, man, do you understand that your body can heal and cure any disease? Your body is if you take care of your body and eat like the healthier foods, you can live a long life where you like Dr. Sebi. When I met Dr. Sebi, he probably was like 80 something. Yeah, like this dude had more energy and life than like people I've met that's 17.
Yeah,
like,
they say he dropped down to his knees and hop right back up.
Yeah, he do that. He do that. He show you that little. He like go right down his knees. Like, this is from eating these, taking the herbs and eating natural. This is, he would show you that. But what I saw was like, man, I saw people that were dealing with lupus, that were dealing with cancer, that were dealing with HIV, AIDS, not even AIDS. Man, that he had worked on and was healing.
Yeah.
And man, that showed me the power of natural medicine and healing and the spiritual aspect of it.
Yeah, the power of the mind and spirituality coming together.
Yeah, because you know from going down to Honduras, like when you're down there, like
it's a different vibration.
It's a different vibration, man, and you get into. I think some of the times I spent there, I've never been more clear in my life than because it's just been like, I'm eating the best, or I'm fasting.
Yeah.
I'm cleansing myself.
The thermal waters.
You feel like, the thermal water, you feel like you just like floating, man.
Yeah.
And I think, obviously within our communities, from the basics, just us getting healthier foods and getting around things that like Dr. Sebi's herbs that can be natural healing things, man. Because we could I know people who've taken freaking like certain prescribed medicine that's caused other disease in their body. And the doctor and Western doctors have cited as, well, you took this and this caused
it. It caused that.
Yeah, so, I mean, we got to know that the healing powers are there. And I'm a believer in using Eastern and Western medicine.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah,
if it can help, let's let's put them together.
Let's put them together. So, man, but Dr. Sebi was a credible guide and a light. And his light is still beaming us.
It's definitely, his legacy is going, and the marathon continues. So everybody asking when the documentary's coming. It's coming. It's in the process. We making it all happen. Yeah. And man, I know we could talk for hours, man. Like, obviously the book is amazing. It's available. And you rub shoulders with greats, and you've become the greats that others want to rub their shoulders next to, man. And from Obama to Sabi to Dr. Maya Angelou to all of these people, man. But ultimately, the message that Common wants to leave with the world, everything even in the book, you got Baldwin, Douglas, so many different people that kind of open up each chapter. What's the message that Common is ultimately putting out there?
Man, I think the message that I really want is that, man, every individual on this planet has value and has purpose. And, man, being that we created in God's likeness, we can accomplish and overcome anything. And that, man, our lives are meant for us to be in greatness and happiness and in magnificence. So whatever path we got to take to get there, and whatever falls that happen when we on that way, just know that, like, the destiny is for greatness, and, like, as long as we breathing, we can reach it.
There it is, man. That's powerful, man. I feel like we just began to unpack all of that. Like, I feel like this was the Cliff Notes, the synopsis, man. We got to do this again, man. If you come back and build, obviously we doing the stuff with the doc. But if we could sit down, we ain't even get into hip hop. We ain't talk hip hop.
Oh, man, we got to come back and build,
film, all of that. So Cannon's class is open to you anytime, man. Because just the gems and the wisdoms that you constantly drop, whether it's in the book, whether it's in your music, whether it's just in the light that you walk in, man, we embrace it, and you teaching young people daily, man. So we appreciate it.
Thanks.
Yeah, Professor Common.
Yes, sir.
Let's get it.
Peace.